Regular meeting of council order for Monday, November 4th. Before we do the approval of the agenda, I'd like to add an item to the agenda. If I may, I plan on trying to add, asking staff to supply a report in regards to where the accessibility committee is at, that they sit with at the PRRD. So it's a motion, Councillor Julik. Discussion. So I'll just make a couple comments. I was going to do it as a notice of motion, but you know, in my opinion, that takes 2 weeks before it'll come back to us. And I think it's really, really important that what we heard at Let's Talk, that we just find out where the committee is at, that our staff sit on with the PRRD, so we can, you know, if there's some things that are red flags, we can deal with. Any other discussion? Okay, going to call the question. All in favor? Motion is carried to add that. We're going to add it as 9.2, and schedule meetings will be 9.3. Okay, take approval of the amended agenda. Councillor Noxana.
That the November 4th, 2024 regular council meeting agenda be adopted as amended.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Hoffman. All in favor? Carried. And just so we're aware that Councillor Norbury is attending via Zoom. Just in case I miss his hand up, somebody can point that out. Adoption of minutes for October 21st, 2024 regular council meeting minutes. A recommendation, please. Councillor Dussault.
That the October 21st, 2024 regular council meeting minutes be adopted as presented.
Seconder, Councillor Clickash. All in favor? Carried. Any business arising from the minutes, council? Staff?
No.
Thank you. Delegations for Forever Young Society, Glenn Miller, Debbie Robbins, and Lynne Cuthbertson, in attendance to suggest requirements to ease access to Willow Hall. I will welcome you all up to the delegation table, please.
Okay.
All right, welcome. The floor is yours.
Before we get started, I'd like to thank the Mayor and Council tonight for accepting our request to meet with you here because of Willow Hall. And we've been, quite a few of our participants over there, have a little bit of disabilities, and trying to get in the building is a little bit difficult. And so we're requesting her, have a look at, some doors, to automatic open doors, because if they can't really get at the doors, if they do, how do you get a wheelchair in, or a walker or something like this here. And also, there's a couple of spots on the sidewalk there that's a little bit high, so how do you, have a, it's still even difficult with a walker, but I mean, if you have a wheelchair or something like that, it's not going to happen too easily, And the doors and everything, and I don't know about that. They're going in the washrooms, the way that they are there. How did they manage to get in that, And it's apparently, and there's some more. My delegation here, can ask them some questions, but people trying to get in the washrooms, it's pretty difficult, everything. And the other thing we want to look at is for the parking, people come there and park, which is okay, but there's a lot of us that have a little bit of a difficulty, especially right now, the way that the weather is and everything else, they got to park their way around the building and try to come around, and a lot of people that get there early, they just take the spot that is close, but we have an idea where we'd like to have some parking, right along the side of the building there, right close to the door. So that's just a brief, you know, like we had, my two cohorts here, you know, and like, can ask any questions, they know a little bit more than I do, you know, like, great people, you know, like, it's good to be good when you have people like I have here, so that's good.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for coming in. I think it's very, very important that we hear from you. We actually heard quite a bit at Let's Talk. I think quite a few things, I mean, I'll be honest, as the mayor, I was unaware of. Never mind what council was unaware of, but even staff. So I think it's a great opportunity to come forward, have those conversations and questions answered. I'll be honest, I got to be straightforward. We don't make any decisions at the delegation night. But this is something, again, that's why I added something later into the agenda as well, just to try and find out where we are on this committee that we sit on. Because I think it's really important that we're looking at the community as a whole, any district-owned facilities, Willow Hall, Community Center, Town Hall, stuff like that. But I don't have any direct questions yet. Councillor Julik.
Hey, thanks for coming. It's good to see you. I noticed something that Glenn forgot to mention that was in your letter is the exit door, the emergency exit door. You're looking for a type of a wheelchair ramp as well. Mostly I want to make sure that we include those in our notes so that when we get talking back again, the committee that Mayor Kakauka is referring to is one that was formed when the new Accessibility Act came in. And so it was with the PRRD and then the different municipalities. So we did have people sitting on that. So I feel like after we have that discussion, we could possibly make a motion to look at that specifically. But I think like Mayor Kakauka says, we have to look at it as a whole. There's a special word for that, but as a whole, basically. So hopefully we could get something done for you sooner rather than later. Although I'm quite sure by the time we get everything figured out, that doesn't necessarily happen as fast as we'd like, but I sure like to be able to help you out as much as possible and really appreciate you coming in and bringing it to our attention.
Councillor Dussault and then Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, thank you for coming in and presenting. I do hang out at Willow Hall when I can, and I know where your needs and concerns are, so thank you for bringing that forward to us who are unaware of it. So there again, you know, things move slow, but here's hoping we can get something started when things get going. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Norbury? You must be on mute. Try now. Nope.
All right.
There we go.
I'll save it then.
Okay, now you're good. Go ahead, Councillor Norbury.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I guess when we took over the Willow Hall from the Jehovah's Witnesses, when it was the Kingdom Hall, they didn't have a really good foresight into accessibility at that time. So thanks for coming in. All these issues that you brought up, in my opinion, are valid, and we definitely need to make sure that they are addressed, not just for everybody moving forward. So, I mean, for myself, we got to get on this, and thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Councillor Noxana.
Thank you, and thanks for coming in. I just wanted to mention that I really appreciate your comment that we would like some input on where the parking stalls go, because I think that that's something that we should keep in mind going forward, that we as people who don't need the accessibility stalls might not have the best answers on where they should go. And I think that maybe people in the audience would agree that we haven't made the best decisions on where they should be in the past. So I'm hoping, I've made a note here and hoping that staff can take those notes away too, so that those conversations can happen as we move forward through this process, because it is really important that our buildings are accessible to all members of our community, regardless of their mobility. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from council? Councillor Clickash.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. I know when I was a little bit involved with Willow Hall, that was about 15 years ago, and no one needed a wheelchair or whatever, or a walker. So thanks for coming in and reminding us that these buildings have to have that.
Okay, any other questions from council? I had a couple. One thing, I think you're at a great time to come in as a delegation and talk to us about accessibility at one of the buildings that we own, which is Willow Hall, as we'll be going into budget discussion. And this is something we need to look at. Have you ever brought this forward to staff?
Not that we know of, eh?
Okay. Do you know if I mean, I guess it's for our CAO, but you may be able to answer it. Does staff come in and do a roundabout through the Willow Hall while you guys are using it? So I talk about bathroom doors. It was well noted that some of the young ladies that go to Willow Hall with Forever Young can't even use the washroom there because they can't open the door. It's so heavy or seized up or whatever it may be. I was, after our Let's Talk, there was a few people that did come in, asked to meet with me, talk to me about the door at Willow Hall. So I'm just curious if staff have you ever been in there when staff's come through the building to do a inspection, anything like that?
They did the furnace today.
Yeah, thanks.
They did the furnace today, but they've come in and inspected the odd thing, but I've never been there when they've come in to look at doors or accessibility at all.
Okay, thank you. Yep, go ahead.
The fire department comes in and checks, doesn't that we can get out? And they check that our, oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm aware of that. So I think it's great. I think you guys are right on time to come in and bring it forward, and I appreciate it. I mean, not always should we be using or leaving it up to our residents or people that use our buildings. And I believe that's why the act has come out from the province. And I mean, I'll be honest, everybody's behind, not just Tumbler Ridge. The PRD is the one that is chairing the meetings. And then they opened it up to anybody within the Peace region that wanted to join on this Accessibility Act, because we all have to do it. So we actually joined with the PRD. So I have a added item at the end of the agenda tonight to try and get some information. And I plan on doing the same thing on Thursday at the PRD, try to add something into our agenda that day as well, to find out where the PRD is at. Because I think it's so important. It came up at Let's Talk, and I'll be honest, I think the resident that did it, it's not even just the doors. It was everything. It was, no disrespect, but it was our school. It's not just one area of our community. I mean, I know we can't go down and start going down through private buildings stating that they have to have this, this, and this. But as we go through it, it's going to, we're going to see where the errors are, but we need to be on it. And then with you folks coming in before we start budget, it really, really helps staff. It really, really helps staff to be able to realize that maybe there's a gap there and we need to fix the gap. And that's whether that's the accessibility buttons for the doors, looking at the washroom doors that people can't open, which is very concerning when the few individuals that did talk to me, they don't hang out there as much or as long because they can't access the washroom. That's a concern. So I know staff's hearing it for the first time because I had the meetings today. So it's something we'll have to do. And I don't know if we can give direction tonight, but it definitely will be whether they have to assess the building or whatever. But it's not just that building. We heard about the museum. We own the museum building too. Go at the fire emergency exit and there's a drop off. So if you have accessibility concerns, whether you're with a walker or you have a wheelchair or you have a cane and there's a drop off, what happens if you can't get off the drop off? So that's the things we're starting to find. And again, appreciate everybody that's bringing it forward so that we can actually go forward with it and get it fixed. And I mean, when I talk we, I mean staff. Staff's gonna, they got their pulse on it now too, and stuff like that. So it's just something that fell through the cracks, and it's sad to say it that way, but I guarantee that's exactly what happened. When Councillor Clitcash mentioned about 15 years ago, I don't know if accessibility was such a pulse in the community. It seemed like we did fairly well. I remember the former Mayor White had actually put himself in a wheelchair and wheeled himself around the community to find some of the issues, and that's why some of the down ramps were fixed and highlighted with yellow. I know the youth at the high school, I believe it was doing a accessibility class or study. I haven't heard the results of that, but I think that's going to be another thing. They're going to peg more thing than we actually realize. So, again, thank you very much. I don't have any direct questions, just those couple that I want to see. Just curious if you'd seen any inspections done. So, okay, anything else from council? All right, well, thank you very much for coming in tonight. I can make a promise that staff will reach out to you Forever Young as we make this process. I'm pretty sure council will support that we make sure we stay in contact.
Well, on behalf of Forever Young, I want to thank Mayor and Council for acceptance, of listening to us, and you probably saved the executive our next day because we have a good person here, and she's probably got a bat there behind her. So if we didn't bring this up, hey, but hey, Okay, Linda, my dear.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to consent agenda. Take the recommendation, please. Councillor Noxana.
That all items in the November 4th, 2024 consent agenda be moved for information.
Seconder, Councillor Dussault. All in favor? Carried. Are there any items council would like to bring forward for discussion? I got Councillor Dussault, Councillor Noxana, then Councillor Norbury.
I'd like to bring forward 7.2.
Okay, discussion. I'll second that. All in favor? Carried. Councillor Dussault.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, I have quite a list here, so this is really a terrible situation, and I don't know what the answer is moving forward. I guess I'm going to ask, when do penalties stop and we do something else? Like, what else can be done besides penalties? Because the penalties don't seem to be working.
Hang on one second. I'm having a really hard time hearing you.
Yeah, it's very.
I apologize. I'm not sure if you can do something with the volume, but I can barely hear her. Do you want to try that again? Maybe just try to lower your mic. I apologize, but I could barely hear what you were saying.
Okay, I'll start over. This is a
Please.
terrible situation, and I don't know what the answer is moving forward with this. We seem to be giving out fine after fine after fine, but yet we still have the same problems. Just the other day, I was driving down the street and I saw a woman with her dog. She had the leash in her hand, but the dog wasn't on the leash. And by the time you call bylaw, the dog and the owner is already gone. You know, I know we also have Facebook to follow this stuff too, but I don't know. There are things I think that can be done with a dangerous dog. I was looking up some things on the internet today. And if a dog is deemed dangerous, there are different colors a dog can wear, whether a dog is blind, whether a dog is reactive, whether a dog is in training for being a guide dog. There are many different colors. So maybe moving forward with this, maybe it would be a good idea when people are licensing their dogs, if their dog is deemed dangerous, they need to wear an orange collar. This signifies that the dog is dangerous. What else did I have? Sorry, lost
No,
my
don't be
train of
sorry.
thought. You know, and I feel it should be up to the owner to purchase this collar. And when they do come in, I think they should be asked, does your dog have this color of a collar? And maybe for proof, there should be a picture. I think there should be a picture of every dangerous dog that we have in town, and it's not a lot. There's not a lot of dangerous dogs from my understanding, but there are a few. And I think if bylaw, you know, I know they are aware of dogs and things, but things, you know, things can fall through the cracks and now it always be looked at. So I don't know if that's something that can be done moving forward. I don't know what anybody else has to say, so.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Noxana and then Councillor Norbury.
Thank you. I would like to see our animal responsibility bylaw come back before us. I think that this really unfortunate situation has shown us some glaring holes in a bylaw that we just amended. It definitely was a bit eye-opening. There's things that we can add to our bylaw, like dangerous animal owners should have an insurance policy on that animal. Follow-ups need to be done to ensure that these animals are following, or that the owners of these animals are following the bylaws we have laid out. So we'll let everyone, I guess, have their conversation, but then I think that we need to make a motion to have that bylaw come back up.
Yep, thank you. Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kachaka. I agree with both what Councillor Noxana and Dussault had to say. I think having a different colored collar or something that can be easily identified from a distance, I think is something that can be, should be brought in. Unfortunately, in a situation like this, if the owner is negligent, like they were negligent in re-getting their license as a dangerous dog, you know, they might not do it. You know, my thoughts comes to when I used to work with at-risk youth, one of the things we used to say is, we can't make anybody do anything, right? Like nobody can, people are allowed to choose and to do whatever they want to do. But the only thing you can do is you can, put in enough enforcement to make them think twice about what they're doing. So, in my research on what can be done is that, we can seize animals if they've attacked somebody. We can petition to have those animals put down in certain instances. So, that's where I'm at. But before I make that motion, I had a question regarding fines and stuff like that. In the letter from the Pollards, they comment the financial burden that's been placed upon them due to this attack, and it sounds like they're having difficulties working out an agreeable situation with the offending animal. Is there a way that we could, take these fines that we're collecting and giving them to people for hardship in circumstances?
Yeah, I'm not aware of that. Ms. Scott?
I can't answer that at this time.
It's some kind of information that would have to come forward, Councillor Norbury. I know I've never heard of that, and I understand where you're coming from, but it's something that staff would have to look into.
And fair enough. I mean, that's not something I think has really ever been done before. And my thought process behind it all is that, like, we're not relying on this as like a fee for service funding or anything like that. It's this money is just more of a a way to prevent people from committing these violations. So I'd like to make a motion for staff to create a report outlining the possibilities and procedures for seizing a dog after an attack on a human or domestic animal, dog, cat, chicken, etc. And also for the procedure to petition the court to put down said animal.
Okay, seconder. Councillor Hoffman, discussion? Councillor Julik?
I think for me, I appreciate the motion that's there. I think for me, what I would just like to have it all brought back, the whole animal responsibility bylaw would be my thought. Rather than having something specific within the motion to do a report, I think that the report would come back if we were to just have the whole bylaw come back with, obviously the intent is for the dangerous dog. I think though, once we go through it, we may find something else that pops up, just a new set of eyes looking at it and stuff. So I would rather just have it be that we bring the whole bylaw back, and then council has the opportunity then to debate the different pieces of it. Because I'd also really like for people within our community to be able to talk to us about it as well. I think the Pollards, and I'm sorry if I have not said that right, they probably have a lot of thoughts after going through the process, and I'd like them to be able to have the opportunity. So I'd like to keep it as simple as bringing the animal responsibility bylaw back to council.
Thank you. Councillor Clickash, then Councillor Norbury.
Your worship, did we get any information back from the SPCA on what they do and handle?
No, there was no direction given yet. There's been no direction given to staff to reach out.
Yes, there was.
No, there wasn't.
Yeah, there was.
There was not, just so you know.
2 weeks ago.
There was not. Anything else?
Nope, not for me.
Okay.
I don't know anything, so.
Councillor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. The purpose of a motion isn't to stop the animal responsibility bylaw coming forward. I think that is something we can do in concurrence with this. But I think I would rather have let's see some action now. I'd rather this get some traction now so that we can add it into our bylaw versus bringing up the bylaw. And then from that discussion, we decide we want to have some more information. I think this should be something that's in place as soon as possible, because this isn't the first dog attack in our community. I think now is the time to finally put some teeth to our bylaw. We've changed our fee structure to impose heavier fines on people, and that's not enough. You know, I'll be honest. I am really tired of having to hear about people and their animals in our community being attacked by poor dog owners. And I have no doubt in my mind, absolutely, that these dog owners, you know, their relationship with their pets are great. They're loving animals. You know, they're good owners. But it doesn't change the fact that their animals are attacking others in our community, and those dogs need to be taken from their owners to protect our other residents and their pets. So I can appreciate, yes, we do need to have a discussion about our bylaw and changing it, but this is something that I think we need to be happening now to show people that if your dog bites another animal, and it doesn't have to be a first-time offense, you know, if they're a dangerous dog, if they're labeled as a dangerous dog and they attack somebody, and that's the time when we go in and we take them, I'm fine with that. But at this point in time, we need to do something more than have fines, and I think we absolutely should be taking these animals, whether it's the SPCA or the District of Tumbler Residents, from these owners. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Hoffman and myself.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm in support of the motion. I think that this is a sub-aspect of our general bylaw, and that this is where the most danger lies. I don't think there's any issue with starting down this path right now. That said, I understand that it is a big deal to seize an animal, and it's a big deal to put an animal down. Like I empathize with the animal as well. I don't know what happened to it to create it, but in the end, you can't have this situation repeat. We had Councillor Naxana's insurance is a great idea, but that doesn't change the fact that you still need to deal with the dog in question. That deals with the financial issues that can arise from it, but I think we need to put it on the books, even if it's separately, that there is a limit, and at some point you can lose your animal. And I even would go as far as to say that you can't have another dog if this is an ongoing incident with a dangerous dog. As was stated in here, the idea that you wouldn't muzzle your dog when you're taking it out when you have an issue, I understand it's aggravating. I understand it's frustrating for the people that are on the receiving end of this. But no, I'm ready to go down this path, and I think we should, even separately from the entire bylaw, start looking at this. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and I appreciate the motion being put on the floor. My concern is we're asking for a report. We're not adding it right away to the animal responsibility bylaw. We're asking for a report, so staff's going to go do a report. It's going to come back. So you're saying let's do action right now. That's not action right away because staff's going to come back in 4 weeks. I'm just guessing a timeline. Not saying it's not 2 weeks. Not going to put a timeline answer that for staff, but that's my concern there, is we're saying we want action, but we're going to ask for a report, and then when the report comes back, then we got to bring back the animal responsibility bylaw to add it into that. So to me, we need to get the animal responsibility bylaw in front of council at the next P&P. Go through it all with staff, give clear direction what we need for them for research, and have it brought back right away at the next P&P so we can get it added, so we can actually make the action that I know every councillor is trying to talk about. But to me, looking for a report, and by the time it comes back, and then we bring up the animal responsibility bylaw in front of council to try and add these things, I think that's longer than we think. And to me, bringing that up, Councillor Knox, I know plans on probably making the motion. To me, then that's clear action. We can start adding things. We can even add certain fines or whatever, probably with background information from staff at the next regular council meeting after a P&P. Like, to me, it's very, very important what happened here. And to me, we tried to fix it. Staff went out and did a bunch of work on trying to reestablish those bylaws to make them stronger, change some of the wording, add some things. And again, we just updated it, and there was things, I don't know if there were, I don't say there was things missed, but I think there's some stronger language we could use. So at this point, I can't support it. I think we need to get the bylaw in front of us to actually get the action moving. Councillor Norbury and then Councillor Hoffman.
Thank you, Mayor. You're breaking up a little bit, so I think you said Councillor Norbury. I can appreciate the comments, but I believe that we can do both at the same time. You know, we can have the animal responsibility bylaw come before us. At the same time, staff be working on this, and that's my intention. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Councillor Hoffman and Councillor Dussault.
I think it's basically echoing. I don't see why we can't start the process of a deeper report. My concern is that we bring it back next week. We do some knee-jerk reactions of what we think should be in place. We put them in place, and then until the next incident, we leave it. I think a report of best practices and whatever else can be brought together for us might give us a better end result. That's why I'm in support of the motion. Thank you.
Thank you. I got Councillor Dussault and then Councillor Julick.
Are we just speaking on the motion at the moment?
We're just speaking on the motion.
Okay, I'll wait till after.
Thank you. Councillor Julick.
Yeah, and I understand where Councillor Hoffman and Councillor Norbury are coming, but I agree, like I said, with Mayor Kakauka. I think we just need to start with the animal responsibility bylaw. And then after, because that's next week, like we're asking for it to come to us next week. That means we can discuss it there. And that other information that we're asking for a report on, we can have that information ourselves or we can ask for it at that meeting. The thing is if we get the bylaw in front of us at PPC, the way I understand it'll happen is we'll get everything out that we want at one time. Then we're not sending staff back to do 2 reports. It'll be 1 report because maybe we have 3 or 4 other things that we come up with at the PPC meeting. And then they can come back with all of it if we can't come to a consensus next Tuesday. So that's my thoughts. I think we'll just be doubling up. So I won't be supporting the motion on the floor.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kakauka. So if I make this motion at the next meeting, will council support it? Like that's my comments tonight is that next week or this week, I would still like this information about how we can add this into our bylaw. You know, time is of the essence. This could take a little while to get information to council, get researched. You know, my opinion's the same this week as it would be next week, but I'd like to see this added in. So, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and Councilor Norbury, I'll be honest with you, it's not that I don't support it. I just think that as we get the bylaw in front of us, there could be a lot of things that we're requesting from staff all at once, including you're trying to put a motion on the floor. So if we put this motion on the floor, they start working on it, then we got to change it, and then they're going to change angles. Like, to me, that's the idea of the PMP. Obviously, we have our CAO in, and if she decides to bring some of her staff in to have an open discussion on maybe some of the things that were missed or things that we can change and make stronger, and this is how we do it, we could add the whole list and get the report back all at once. That's my concern, is having 2 or 3 reports Councillor Julick had mentioned. Staff start on it now, and then all of a sudden they have to do it again. So. Okay, any more discussion in regards to the motion on the floor? Councillor Norbury, can you read your motion out again, please?
Yes. For staff to create a report outlining the possibility and procedures for seizing a dog after an attack on a human or domestic animal, cat, dog, chicken, etc., and petitioning the court to put down said animal.
Okay, thank you. Can I call the question? All in favor? Opposed? Councillor Dussault, Councillor Klickash, Councillor Julick, Councillor Noxana, Mayor Kakauka opposed. Motion is defeated. Okay, so do we want discussion or another motion? Councillor Noxana,
I have another motion.
feel free.
I have this in an email for staff. I can send it off after I read it. I'm making a motion to bring back our animal responsibility bylaws to look at adding things such as mandatory insurance policies, frequent check-ins to ensure compliance from a designated person by our Protective Services Department, mandatory owner-funded behavior classes, owner-funded color-coding vests or collars, and the possibility of seizing and/or surrendering dangerous animals after repeated offenses.
Okay, seconder. Councillor Julick, discussion. Councillor Noxana? Sorry. I'll make a comment again. I think when this comes back, I think we can say what we're looking for, but I think when it comes back to a PMP, we're going to add more stuff to it. I'll be honest, I have a bunch of stuff I want to add to. But I'm fine with the motion, and I just want to add to Councillor Norbury's comments as well. Like, we just need to make sure that at the PMP, we're given clear direction to make sure that, again, we just approve this animal control bylaw in 2024, that we actually get it right. We have the right language, whatever we need to do to make sure the changes that council wants, the residents of Tumbler Ridge want, and that we can actually have it actually followed. Like, it's concrete. We're not going to have issues. My understanding, the way it is today, we have issues with it already. So those would be my comments, but I do support the motion. Councillor Julick and then Councillor Noxana.
I just want to, we didn't ask for it to be brought back at the next PPC. Is that going to be an issue, or is that just what we're Okay.
You can make an amendment, but CEO is well aware. You can make an amendment if you wish.
No, I'm.
Okay. Councillor Knoxana?
Thank you. I'm aware that more things may be added as we go through it. I just wanted to capture most of our conversation here today to ensure that we're starting with this, and then we can build on it if needed. We can go out to the community and see what members of our community would like to see in it as well, but we have a starting point of what we would like to see in our bylaw.
Yep, perfect. Thank you. Councillor Julik?
Could we possibly advertise that we will be discussing it at the PPC in case there's people in the audience who would want to have, because there's a question period after PPC meetings
Yeah,
or
and
no?
our agendas are always online.
Okay, so they can, okay, cool.
Yep. Yep. I mean, I'll be honest with it, like, I think hopefully we get people at the meeting, but I also think we might have to do a public engagement about it. Because, I mean, we, like I said, we just put this through. I thank the residents for the letter. I'm sorry to hear what happened there, but I'll talk about that more. But I think that brings it to light that we just approved a bylaw, changes, revamped it all, and there's no, it's not sticking. So I think that's what we've missed, and whether that's the public engagement side we missed, I don't know. But to me, I want to make sure this is concrete. Like, we need to make sure that when we make these big changes, spend a bunch of staff time, that we got it and it's concrete. All of our bylaws, not just this one. Okay, any more discussion? Can I call the question? All in favor? Motion carries. Okay, any more discussion in regards to 7.2? Councillor Dussault and then myself.
Just one thing in regards to Councillor Clycash's comment. I know we did discuss,
No, I'd be careful of what we discuss in this meeting.
in regards to the SPCA and what they do. In the city, if a dog is deemed dangerous, normally the dog is met, or the owners are met with the RCMP and the SPCA, and the dog is usually taken and then euthanized. So whether or not they still do that practice, I don't know, but I do know that is what they did do.
Thank you. Councillor Julik and then myself.
The mayor may slap my hand for this. I just would like to thank the owners for bringing this
Yeah.
to our
Nope.
attention. All right. All right, I will just say that I'm grateful that this has come to our attention and that we have the ability to take another look at the bylaw.
Appreciate it. I know it's very tough, even from council side, when you're sitting up here and we have a delegation, and obviously the individuals that wrote the letter to council sit in their delegation. But again, it's a meeting to make decisions and do our business for the district. So they can definitely sit around and or you can reach out. But first off, I just want to thank for the residents that did send the email to all the council. I know it was forwarded multiple times to other council as well as to our CAO. You know, I apologize, but my belief was when we looked at this animal control bylaw earlier in 2024 that we actually had, you know, some of this stuff looked at and changed to make the changes because of some of the issues that we had in previous years. Dog attack on human, dog attack on dogs. I think I think we just missed some language. Definitely we missed some language for sure. There's no question about it. You know, just talk with the CEO after the fact, you know, we missed some language. And I think that's why if it comes back to the PNP, it's an open meeting. We can have that discussion to make sure that we're doing the right changes and moving it forward. You know, I know that they, staff, so bylaw, you know, they did their thing. They've put up the signs. They've leased the signs that we had put into play for this to be at the residence. They had other stipulations that they were supposed to follow that weren't followed. So how do we have that added back into the bylaw to make sure if it's not being followed by the resident, that as per what the bylaw stated or the bylaw officer stated, how do we have any recourse to that? Whether that's not repurchasing their dog tag, dog not being muzzled, as per what the policy was or the bylaw is with a dangerous dog, which it was actually certified as a dangerous dog. That's why they have signs. So that is my concern: is what did we miss? That, you know, the dog didn't have a muzzle on, didn't have a dog tag, didn't renew their dog tag, like all those things. And it's not just the resident that the occurrence happened with. There's others. And to me, we just need to make sure going forward that we have all that stuff captured within the bylaw to make sure, as the town moves forward, that it's captured for everybody that lives within our municipality or visiting our municipality. And I think it's very important for everybody to be aware. If you have somebody that comes to your house on a regular basis that has an animal, our animal control bylaw sticks for them, so they should have a dog tag. That was the first thing I reached out after I seen this email. I phoned and asked because there's lots of people that come up, couple weeks at a time with the pets to visit people. They're actually supposed to have a municipal dog day. So that's my understanding. I reached out to find that out. They should have a dog day because they're here. So. All right, any other discussion in regards to the letter for 7.2? Okay. Any other items council would like to bring forward? Okay. I'd like to bring 7.4 for discussion. Get a seconder, Councillor Noxana. All in favor? Carried. I just wanted to be quick. This actually came from the PRD. They were in and did a delegation. I've just asked, like, they like to come as delegations, so that we'll probably see them coming soon as a delegation. But I asked for them to submit the paperwork immediately to the district, because I think it's important that we have it. Even for residents that maybe, we don't have all these pipelines that go between our backyards, but if people are out in the area or in the backcountry, there's things here, and there's good information on it. And they've been great and very transparent to their work they've been doing. And so at one point or another, they may be looking at adding some extra compressor stations. One would be outside by the Sekunka. So that's all I have to say. Anything else in regards to that? 7.4. Okay. Moving on to new business, Community Forest Select Committee. Report dated November 4th, 2024 from the Chief Administrative Officer regarding Community Forest Select Committee. Councillor Noxana.
Recommendation that the Chief Financial Officer for the District of Tumbler Ridge be appointed to the Select Committee for inquiring into the conversion of the community forest from a corporation to a limited partnership as per Section 142 of the Community Charter.
Seconder, Councillor Hoffman. Discussion. I'll make just a comment. I think it was something that we realized, myself and the CAO realized after we'd struck up the committee, that maybe we're missing our CFO, or she's missing her CFO, because a lot of the information is going to be that what the implications are or not. And to me, it makes it easier having this individual sit at the committee level. Then we're not trying to email back and forth with questions and then stuff. So that's why it's in front of us tonight. Okay, going to call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, 9.2. Going to put a recommendation on the floor that we ask staff to make or to bring back a report to council in regards to where the accessibility committee is at, that they sit on with the PRRD, and if the information can be shared to mayor and council as well as the public. Seconder. Councillor Hoffman, discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Carried. Okay, schedule of meetings. Anything from council? Sorry, I gotta get caught up in my notes. So just a couple of reminders, just as it's getting, it's not right there, but just the mayor and council and fire department's food drive. It's on the 27th. Just so that's in everybody's calendar. I know this school has invited us for November 8th for the Remembrance Day ceremonies at the Tumbler Ridge Secondary School. There's also a full invite for Remembrance Day on November 11th at the high school. If anybody from council is going to be attending, if you could please email me. I have a list of stuff that other people have emailed me. So there's some research they'd asked that mayor do, but I think I do the district. So there's a couple other ones that maybe the council can do. So if you can just email me. Staff, missing anything? Anything in regards to scheduling meetings?
Yes. On November 13th, the kickoff meeting for the Tumbler Ridge Economic Development Strategy at the Visitor Information Center at 10 a.m. for council.
Okay. Councillor Julik?
I unfortunately won't be able to attend that. I'm going to be in Prince George at a conference for health.
Okay. Okay, anything else for scheduling meetings from council? Okay. Moving on to notice of motions. Any notice of motions, Councillor Julik?
Yes, thank you. Let me turn my page. That the District of Tumbler Ridge funds can only be given to nonprofit boards where the majority of the board has had director training. And I have a second one.
Okay.
That District of Tumbler Ridge funds can only be given to council-appointed boards where the majority of the board has had director training.
Okay, thank you.
I have sent them to Adriana.
Okay. If next time, just send them to our CAO, please. Any other notice of motions? Okay. Notice of motion encroachment at the October 21st, 2024, Mayor Kirkcalka brought the following notice of motion forward. Recommendation that a report be prepared for council in regards to an update on the encroachment that was supposed to be re-looked at by bylaw. Seconder, Councillor Noxana, discussion. I'll just make a comment as we're getting into budget and all that. I do not think that this is a immediate report, just so staff is clear of that. Ms. Scott? Okay. Just because I think there's a bunch coming up, so. Okay, can I call the question? All in favor? Carried. And the other one from October 21st, the October 21st, 2024 regular council meeting, Mayor Kirkcalka brought forward the following notice of motion. That staff update council on the fire smart coordinator position. Seconder, Councillor Noxana, discussion. Call the question, all in favor? Carried. Okay, and then everybody is aware that the UBCM fuel is there. I think we'll see some more updates coming now that the election is complete, and they've announced who the party is that is taking over government. So I think we'll see more information. Question and answer periods. Any questions from the gallery? Feel free. Like feel free.
I don't have any questions. It's just a thought. I've been kind of listening to these and reading the minutes, and I would really like to see some recognition to the traditional territories on which we stand while at these sessions.
Yep.
That can be implemented moving forward. I would greatly appreciate that.
Yep. And I thank you for the question. We're actually right in the middle of working on it, land acknowledgement. So I would hope to be done before Christmas, but I've actually taken that on as that was direction given to our previous CAO and our new CAO. I mean, she's been flat out, so I've taken that on. So I'm just going to get it in front of one of the council's going to work with me, and we're going to get through it. But I appreciate the question. Any mailed in questions, Ms. Scott?
No.
Okay. Take resolution to a closed meeting. Councillor Noxana?
That the November 4th, 2024 regular council meeting be closed to the public according to section 91G and J of the Community Charter to permit discussions about G, litigation or potential litigation affecting the municipality, and J, information that is prohibited or information that if it were presented in a document would be prohibited from disclosure under section 21 of the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act.
Seconder? Councillor Dussault, all in favor? Carried. 5-minute recess.